Okay. Ow.
Hi everybody, I'm Mark,
I'm Lily.
and together we are Millie Productions.
Hey.
Hey! Okay, well today we're going to be talking about a little something different from the last couple of weeks. Today we're talking about movies. You know, that's a pretty popular thing right now during this whole quarantine, so we thought we'd jump on the bandwagon and start talking to you guys about some of our favorites and why. So, without further ado, shall we go?
Okay.
Alright.
Here are our top 10 movies you need to watch, I guess, in your lifetime.
Top 10 movies you either need to watch or research or just listen to us about them because, we know all in regards to them.
Well, yeah, okay.
What, you don't think so?
I know you do with Star Wars.
You're darn right I do. For number 1, we've got
Dead Poets Society.
Woo!
So basically, this is my favorite movie of all time, and I think it's probably a favorite movie of most English majors in the world because it's about this English teacher who goes to this very traditional private school, and he tries to shake things up, and just like a lot of things unfold, some tragic, some happy, and some just bittersweet. So the ending kills me. And there's this one character, the actor, his backstory gets to me. And it's just a really good movie, and he really talks about why words, literature, and poetry is important. The teacher, who's played by Robin Williams, so that in itself should be a reason for you to watch this movie.
a legend right there.
So it's just a good movie about why people should study language, and it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, essentially, it's an English major's paradise. And I personally, I've only seen it a handful of times, nowhere near as many as her, but I've definitely taken quite a few messages from it. Only you have your voice. No one else can have that voice or make a voice for you. So, long story short, if you want to do something and make something of yourself and of your life, you've got to be the one to do it. You can't wait for a handout. You can't wait for your parents to basically say you can or can't do that. You just got to go out and do it by yourself. And it's much more rewarding that way anyway, so. Alright, number 2. This one's mine. Whiplash.
Never seen it.
Not many people have, and that's a shame. It's one of the more underrated of the J.K. Simmons movies. Because in this movie, you've got a young aspiring drummer who's wanting to become a professional, the best of the best. And then you've got this super perfection-obsessed man who just wants the craft to be done according to his tempo. For those of you who've seen the movie, you'd understand that reference.
Not quite my tempo.
Anyway, it just showcases the limits of the human body and of the mind as well, as this young drummer literally breaks himself time and time again in order to fall into the mold that this teacher has formed. And then towards the end, it's almost as though the drummer realizes he would not be compatible with that mold. He has to do his own thing, which he does. Makes it blatantly obvious, and he gets respected for it. So ultimately, the message that I got from that movie was be yourself, do your own thing, don't let anybody try to make you conform to their will, and you'll be alright.
Okay.
Well,
Maybe
no.
I will watch it one day.
Oh, now you're intrigued.
I just like seeing people reach their full potentials.
Yeah, well.
My next movie is The Prestige, which was directed by the great Christopher Nolan. Anything directed by him is like golden, in my opinion.
I agree.
And it also stars Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman. So again, another reason to just go watch it for those names.
Yeah, you get to see Batman go against Wolverine. What more could you want?
It's basically about these magicians who are rivals against each other, and it's just a story about magic and obsession And it's just very, very intriguing because it just shows you what obsession can do to a person. And it's also like a game of wits as well, so I always like those types of stories.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I was actually with Lili at the time. It was our first date, actually. But we'll get to that story in another video. And all of the twists and turns of that movie, it just blew my mind. I was just like, one person came up with all of this? And yeah, I'd seen Christopher Nolan movies before, but that one really shook me to the core. And it also greatly prepared me for non-linear movies like Dunkirk.
Oh yeah, non-linear storyline. That's a great tool that Christopher Nolan.
Can you say it right?
I'm gonna start over.
Okay.
That's a great tool that Christopher Nolan masters.
Indeed. And speaking of masters, our next bit is Star Wars. Notice how I didn't specify an episode. That's because I'm working on 6 movies, the first 6 movies. The only ones that I consider to be canon, and here is why. They all follow along the lines of a single story. Anakin Skywalker and the result of his mistakes. The other 3, like, they're their own thing, you know, they're a result of someone else's mistakes, but like, it's just an all-encompassing story, which is why I consider all of them to be a single movie. A very long movie with a lot of political talk, but you know, if you're able to get through that, it's worth it. Especially the duels. Oh my gosh, the duels.
You can be silent now.
Oh, you've had enough, huh?
My next movie pick is Finding Neverland, which is the story of J.M. Barrie and how he came to write Peter Pan. Now, if you know me, you know I have a huge thing for Peter Pan. Like, he's going to be a part of my thesis that I'm currently writing, so I really like just the character of Peter Pan, and that movie, granted, a lot of it is fictionalized, so it's not 100% accurate, but it just shows like what a writer sometimes has to go through in order to write the story that they're meant to write. Like, he had to distance himself from certain people and get closer to others in order to create Neverland and Peter Pan, and it just shows that with every story written, there's some amount of sacrifice has happened because not everyone understands the mind of a writer.
Ain't that the truth? My gosh. We're both writers, if you remember, so we completely understand that. And speaking of the minds of writers...
I was going to pick these movies, but you took them from me.
Yeah, I was quicker than you. You just gotta accept it, alright? My next pick of movies... The Lord of the Rings trilogy, not The Hobbit. Those can just stay in their little corner. But the original trilogy, once again, I consider it to be an all-encompassing film because it's just one story, one quest, I guess essentially to rule them all. Like, basically, all of these other quests spread because of this one thing. It's the ultimate form of storytelling as well as world building. But not only that, it carries an all-encompassing theme that all people play a big part in the grand scheme of things. Like you saw in the Fellowship that you had pretty much a representative of all of the races on there doing their own thing and contributing to the group, and they ended up getting the job done at the end. That is honestly a message that needs to be kind of repeated to people today, because it's honestly something that isn't really thought about anymore, you know? Like, especially in light of recent events, I just feel like we could use a lot of unity right about now.
And the music's amazing too.
Yeah, Howard Shore is awesome.
My next movie is an oldie but a goodie. It's a Wonderful Life. So if you're a millennial or a Gen Zer, you may have never heard of that movie, but basically it's a black and white Christmas movie, but it's more than just about Christmas. It's about this man's life, and he has these grand dreams of adventure and travel, but he he gets stuck in the town he grew up in due to work and family obligations, and so he suffers from depression because, you know, he had dreams and now they're kind of very unachievable. And basically he gets the gift to see what his world would be like if he had never existed in the first place. So it's just a really good story, and like at the very end, that part always gets to me because, like, although there are themes of like depression, mental health, dreams, I think the heart of that film is about friendship, and there's like a part at the end that just always brings me to tears because it's just very, very touching, and I watch this movie in black and white like every single Christmas.
And what stood out to me when I first saw it was the fact that even though he felt that he had no purpose, everyone around him believed otherwise. And that's because he contributed in some way or form to their own personal success. And that's another lesson that isn't really taught nowadays. If you are feeling down about your circumstances, just know that your existence means something to somebody, and it always will. So even though you may feel like you aren't reaping the benefits of life, someone else probably is because of something that you did for them. You have purpose even when you don't see it. Oh, thank you. Here all day. Okay. Oh, speaking of here all day, you feel like you're here all day when you get to this movie. My next pick is The Room.
No.
Yes. This film is a treasure, not because it has groundbreaking writing or very appealing cinematography. It's because the writing is so terrible that it is an inspiration for any writer out there or film person, because it gives you a laundry list of what to never do for a film, script, or book. It's honestly amazing. It gets everything wrong in such a way that any aspiring writer can look at that and just be like, well, I know not to do that.
Ugh.
What?
Not a fan. I could have gone my whole life without that movie.
No, you're just salty because you can't do a spot-on Tommy Wiseau impersonation.
Anyway, my last film is actually a film that Mark introduced me to. It's a comedy. It's called The Other Guys, and it stars Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell, and they're like partners in the police force, and they were like desk jockeys for the longest time, but then they go out into the world and try to like do things, but it's hilarious because like you got Mark Wahlberg, just this angry little man, and then you got Will Ferrell who just like pretends he hates his life but he really loves it, and like anything to do with bushes in the movie, like there's like a quote at the beginning about bushes, and then there's a point in the movie where Will Ferrell meets with his wife in the bushes. So yeah, it's hilarious. I really, really enjoy that film. I want to watch it again.
Oh boy. Guess I know what we're doing after this. And that brings me to my last selection.
Which I was going to choose, by the way.
Well, you didn't, so there. Now then, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted over here, my last selection for film is La La Land. And I just gotta say, this movie exceeded all of my expectations. When I first went into the theaters to see this movie, I genuinely thought it was just going to be like the typical musical, boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back, you know, cut and paste, Disney happy ending kind of thing. But that wasn't what happened in La La Land. Something else happened that just completely shook not only me, but everyone else who was in the theater with me at the time. And honestly, years later, and I'm still thinking about that ending, and I think it was a perfect ending. Not because it was the copy-paste formula, but because it was something entirely different. It was more in tandem with real life than anything else, which is something a lot of movies don't do these days. Like, think of any film out there and ask yourself, does it have a happy ending? Does boy get with girl? Do all the conflicts resolve themselves in the end? Well, in La La Land, it's just they resolve everything, but in a way that you never expect. Audiences left angry at how this movie ended because it wasn't what they expected. And that just tells me right there, Hollywood does a little too much with the happy ending formula. Need to give that a break. They need to just like put that one in the bleachers and give this trope a chance to be something more. Because in all honesty, we need more real life films. And I never expected to get that kind of ending out of a musical, but sure enough, I did. And I was not disappointed. So yeah.
Yeah, and that reminds me, Mark and I watched it recently, and there's a lot of colors in La La Land, and we were doing an analysis about what each color symbolized. So if you've already seen La La Land and want to rewatch it, that might be a good lens to do that from.
Yeah, it really would be. Don't look at us for like a laundry list of cheats. We have no idea what these things mean here. It's been years and we're still trying to figure it out. So, if you guys find something out, just let us know in the comments, and we'll just be like, hey, that's what that meant. Okay. But yeah, in any case, those are our movie selections, and that does it for our video. So please, by all means, put likes.
Put likes.
Oh, this was so much better.
This is
in my
like
head.
what the like thing looks like.
Yeah, so by all means, if you liked what you saw, feel free to hit the like button and give us a subscription, because we're a growing channel and we can use all the subscriptions we can get, and we value every single one of them.
Thank you for the support so far.
Yes, indeed. We're forever grateful to you guys. And if you guys want to see something else, if you guys want to see a sequel to this particular video, just let us know, and we'll see what we can do about it. Feel free to hit us up on our Instagram as well. They'll be in the description below.
Yeah, that's what it's called, a description.
Yeah, I realize.
Yeah.
In any case, I'm Mark.
I'm Lily.
And until next time,
Bye.
bye.